Welcome to the Senior Health video. This video will talk about 12 hidden diverticulitis warning signs you must catch early. Have you ever felt a sudden sharp pain in your lower belly and wondered if it was something more serious than a simple stomach issue? Many people brush off these early signals because they seem harmless at first. Yet the truth is that what starts as a mild discomfort can quickly turn into a dangerous condition that demands immediate attention. As you grow older, your digestive system becomes more sensitive, and ignoring small changes can lead to serious consequences that appear without warning. This is why understanding what your body is trying to tell you is so important, especially when the symptoms seem confusing or easy to dismiss. Diverticulitis is one of those conditions that can move from silent to severe faster than most people expect, and many Americans only learn about it after a frightening emergency room visit. The illness begins quietly, hiding inside tiny pouches in your colon. But the moment these pouches become inflamed or infected, everything changes. The pain becomes sharper, the fever rises, the nausea intensifies, and what seemed manageable turns into a dangerous situation that can affect your entire digestive system. When these warning signs are missed, the risk of abscesses, bowel blockages, or even a life-threatening perforation increases dramatically. And that is why recognizing these signals early can make all the difference for your safety. You deserve to understand what is happening inside your body, and you deserve information that is clear, trustworthy, and easy to follow. In this video, you will discover the 12 critical warning signs that doctors want you to recognize before the condition becomes severe. And you will learn how these signs appear, why they matter, and when it is time to seek urgent medical care. Your awareness is your strongest protection. And the more you understand these symptoms, the faster you can take action to protect your health and prevent serious complications. Let us begin with the first sign you should never ignore. Number 1, lower left abdominal pain. When the first warning sign appears, it often starts with a sudden, sharp pain in the lower left side of your abdomen, and this sensation feels different from anything you normally experience. This pain is the most common and the most revealing sign of diverticulitis, because it comes from irritated pouches in your colon that have become inflamed or infected. At first, the discomfort may seem mild, but as the inflammation grows, the pain becomes deeper, more focused, and far more persistent. What makes this symptom especially serious is that the pain rarely goes away on its own, and the longer it lasts, the more likely you are dealing with an infection that your body cannot fight without proper care. Many people in the United States mistake this pain for gas, constipation, or a pulled muscle. Yet the pattern of this discomfort tells a very different story. The pain often intensifies when you move, cough, or even take a deep breath, and this sensitivity comes from the inflammation pressing against nearby nerves. Doctors note that most diverticula in American adults appear in the sigmoid colon, which sits on the lower left side. And that is why this exact location becomes the center of severe and escalating pain when diverticulitis begins. One woman once shared that she ignored a sharp left-sided pain for 2 days, believing it was only a digestive cramp, until the discomfort became so intense that she could no longer stand up straight. Her story reminds us how quickly this warning sign can escalate. But only knowing this is not enough, because there is another dangerous factor you need to understand next. Number 2, abdominal tenderness. As the pain in your lower left abdomen becomes harder to ignore, the next warning sign often appears the moment you touch that sensitive area. Abdominal tenderness is a powerful signal that the inflammation inside your colon has reached a level your body can no longer hide. And this sensitivity reveals far more than a simple stomach ache. When diverticulitis begins to flare, even a light press on your lower abdomen can trigger sharp discomfort. And this reaction tells you that the tissues beneath your skin are swollen, irritated, and fighting an active infection. Many viewers describe this tenderness as a feeling that their stomach is guarding itself, almost as if the muscles tighten on their own to protect the inflamed section within. Doctors in the United States often use this exact response to identify early diverticulitis, because tenderness on the left side combined with persistent pain is one of the strongest predictors that an infection is developing. In real life, people commonly mistake this sensation for bloating after eating certain foods such as heavy dinners, fried meals, or large portions that stress the digestive system. Yet the difference becomes clear when even a soft touch increases the pain rather than relieves it. One man shared that he pressed on his stomach hoping to ease the discomfort after dinner, only to feel a sharp stab that made him freeze in place. That moment revealed how serious the inflammation had become. But knowing this sign alone is still not enough, because there is another escalating symptom that can be even more alarming. Number 3, fever and chills. After the pain and tenderness begin to build, the next sign often appears when your body shifts into defense mode and your temperature starts to rise. Fever and chills are some of the clearest signals that your immune system has detected an infection inside your colon and is fighting hard to control it, and this reaction should never be taken lightly. When diverticulitis becomes active, bacteria can enter the inflamed pouches in your colon, and your body responds by increasing its internal temperature to slow down the infection. You may notice a fever that reaches or passes 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, along with sudden chills that make you feel cold even when the room is warm. These chills can come in waves, leaving you shivering under blankets while your body tries to reach the new temperature set by your immune system. What makes this sign especially important is that a fever during abdominal pain is often a red flag that the inflammation is no longer mild but has progressed to a true infection that requires medical attention. Many viewers in the United States say they first noticed something was wrong when they felt a mix of deep abdominal discomfort and unexplained shivering after a meal, especially heavy dishes that strained their digestive system. Instead of improving, the chills became stronger, and the fever climbed slowly through the evening. One woman shared that she tried to sleep off a mild fever after dinner, thinking it was just fatigue. But she woke up hours later shaking uncontrollably with sharp pain in her lower left side, a clear sign that the infection was spreading faster than she expected. Her experience shows how quickly a simple fever can turn into a serious warning. But only knowing this still is not enough, because there is another hidden sign that can appear even before you notice a high temperature. Number 4, nausea. As the fever and chills begin to signal that your body is fighting an internal infection, another troubling warning sign often appears even earlier than most people expect. Nausea is one of the most underestimated early symptoms of diverticulitis, and it often shows up before you realize that the inflammation in your colon is disrupting your entire digestive rhythm. When the pouches in your colon become inflamed, they release chemical messengers that travel through your bloodstream and trigger the nausea center in your brain, creating a sensation that feels sudden, overwhelming, and difficult to ignore. Many Americans mistake this queasy feeling for simple indigestion after eating familiar meals such as spicy food, fried dishes, or overeating during dinner. Yet the difference becomes clear when the nausea lingers long after the meal should have settled. This kind of nausea is not caused by food sitting in your stomach, but by inflammation deep inside your colon that slows down normal digestive movement, creating a backup that your body struggles to manage. You may notice a loss of appetite, a rolling sensation in your stomach, or a wave of discomfort that intensifies when you bend over, walk, or try to eat again. Doctors often explain that nausea during diverticulitis comes from your gut sending distress signals to your brain in an attempt to protect itself from further irritation. One viewer shared that she felt mildly nauseated after lunch and assumed it was simply something she ate. Yet the nausea grew stronger through the afternoon until she could not even look at food without feeling sick. It was only later that she learned the inflammation in her colon had already begun to escalate. But only knowing this is still not enough, because there is another sign that often follows nausea and reveals an even more serious shift inside your body. Number 5, vomiting. As nausea begins to interfere with your appetite and daily comfort, the situation can shift quickly when your body can no longer tolerate the rising inflammation inside your colon. Vomiting is a powerful warning sign that the infection linked to diverticulitis has intensified, and this reaction shows that your digestive system is now overwhelmed. Unlike simple nausea after a heavy meal, vomiting in this situation happens because the inflamed section of your colon disrupts the normal flow of digestion, creating a backup that forces your stomach to empty itself. You may notice that the vomiting begins shortly after eating, especially meals that are rich, greasy, or eaten too quickly. And this pattern reflects how your digestive tract struggles to move food past the swollen and irritated area. When inflammation narrows the passage in your colon, stomach contents can no longer move downward, and your body pushes them upward instead, creating an uncomfortable and alarming cycle that does not improve with typical home remedies. Doctors often explain that repeated vomiting during abdominal pain is a sign that your digestive system is under stress and may be facing a partial blockage. Many Americans describe this episode as more intense than a regular stomach bug, often paired with dizziness, weakness, and dehydration. One viewer recalled eating a simple dinner of soup and toast, only to begin vomiting within minutes, a shock that continued until she felt too weak to stand. She later learned that the inflammation in her colon had created enough swelling to disrupt normal digestion. Her experience shows how vomiting can reveal a deeper issue, but just understanding this sign is still not enough, because the next warning can appear in a completely different form that many people overlook until it becomes severe. Number 6, constipation. As vomiting reveals that your digestive system is struggling to move food the way it should, another warning sign often appears in a slower and more silent form. Constipation is one of the earliest and most overlooked indicators of diverticulitis, because the inflammation inside your colon interferes with the natural movement of waste. When the swollen section of your colon becomes irritated, it slows down the muscular contractions that normally push stool forward, leaving you with hard, dry stools that feel difficult or even painful to pass. Many people in the United States think constipation is simply caused by a low-fiber meal, dehydration, or a change in routine. Yet constipation linked to diverticulitis behaves differently because it continues to worsen even when you drink more water or try mild remedies. You may feel pressure in your abdomen, a sense of fullness that does not go away, or the frustrating feeling that your bowels never empty completely. This happens because the inflammation creates a bottleneck that traps stool behind the irritated area. Doctors explain that the more you strain, the more pressure you place on the inflamed tissues, and this can increase the risk of complications. People often notice constipation after meals heavy in cheese, processed foods, or large portions eaten quickly, and the discomfort becomes more noticeable each time they try to use the bathroom. One viewer shared that he spent days feeling blocked and uncomfortable, believing it was just a normal digestive slowdown until the pain in his lower left side grew so sharp that he could barely sit upright. Only later did he learn that constipation was the first sign his colon had already begun to inflame. But knowing this warning sign alone is still not enough, because the next symptom can appear in the opposite direction and create even more confusion if you do not recognize it in time. Number 7, diarrhea. After constipation creates the feeling that everything inside your digestive system has slowed down, the next warning sign can be surprisingly different and far more confusing. Diarrhea is another common indicator of diverticulitis, and many people do not realize that this sudden shift happens because the inflamed section of your colon begins to react unpredictably. When the tissues inside your colon become irritated, your body sometimes tries to protect itself by speeding up the movement of stool and releasing extra fluid into the intestines. This reaction creates loose, watery bowel movements that can appear several times a day. Many Americans mistake this type of diarrhea for food poisoning or a reaction to heavy meals such as creamy dishes, spicy food, or fast food eaten too quickly. Yet diarrhea connected to diverticulitis often comes with urgency, cramping, and a feeling of pressure that does not match a normal stomach upset. And this pattern continues even after light meals or plain foods. Doctors explain that the inflammation can create a partial blockage, causing liquid stool to pass around the obstructed area, which is why the diarrhea may come in small amounts but feel impossible to ignore. One viewer shared that he believed his sudden diarrhea was caused by something he ate at lunch, but the urgency grew stronger through the evening and arrived with sharp discomfort in the same lower left area he had ignored earlier. That moment was the first clue that something deeper was happening inside his colon. But only knowing this still is not enough, because there is another warning sign that can create intense pressure and visible swelling that you should never overlook. Number 8, bloating and abdominal distension. As diarrhea brings sudden urgency and discomfort, the next warning sign often appears in a more visible and pressure-filled way. Bloating and abdominal distension are major signals that the inflammation in your colon is disrupting the normal movement of gas and fluid, and this swelling can become impossible to ignore. When diverticulitis develops, the irritated section of your colon struggles to move gas forward, causing pockets of trapped air to build up inside your abdomen. This pressure can make your stomach feel tight, stretched, or unusually full, even if you have barely eaten. Many Americans mistake this swelling for overeating, eating too fast, or consuming foods such as beans, carbonated drinks, dairy, or greasy meals that commonly cause bloating. Yet bloating from diverticulitis feels different because the discomfort keeps building and does not improve with walking, stretching, or using over-the-counter remedies, which normally help with common gas. The swelling can be visible, sometimes making your abdomen look rounder or firmer than usual, and the pressure often increases when you bend, twist, or try to lie down. Doctors explain that this type of distension happens because inflammation causes the intestinal walls to fill with fluid and become thicker, leaving gas with nowhere to move. One viewer shared that he noticed his stomach looked unusually swollen after dinner, believing it was just a heavy meal, but the pressure in his lower left side grew so intense that his clothes felt tight and uncomfortable. Hours later, the pain sharpened, revealing that the swelling came from inflammation, not food. But only knowing this sign still is not enough, because the next warning can be far more alarming and requires immediate attention. Number 9, rectal bleeding. As the pressure and swelling in your abdomen grow stronger, the next warning sign can be far more alarming and should never be ignored. Rectal bleeding is one of the most serious indicators of diverticulitis because it means that inflammation has affected the blood vessels inside your colon. When the irritated pouches become swollen or infected, the surrounding vessels can weaken and rupture, releasing bright red blood that you may notice on toilet paper, in the toilet bowl, or mixed with your stool. Many people in the United States mistake this bleeding for hemorrhoids, especially after straining or eating low-fiber meals that make bowel movements more difficult. Yet bleeding caused by diverticulitis feels different because it often appears suddenly, continues for more than one bowel movement, and is frequently paired with lower left abdominal pain, something regular hemorrhoids do not cause. Doctors warn that any fresh red blood accompanied by abdominal discomfort can signal a deeper problem inside the colon, one that may require urgent medical evaluation. Some viewers report that the bleeding first appeared after a day of eating heavier foods such as red meat, cheese, or processed meals that slowed digestion and placed more pressure on the inflamed area. One woman shared that she noticed a streak of bright red blood after using the bathroom and convinced herself it was nothing serious. By the next morning, the bleeding had increased, and the pain in her lower abdomen had intensified so much that she rushed to the emergency room, where she learned the bleeding came from an inflamed diverticulum. Her story shows how quickly this sign can turn into a dangerous situation. But only knowing this warning sign is still not enough, because the next symptom involves a completely different part of your body and can reveal an even more concerning complication. Number 10, urinary symptoms. After rectal bleeding raises the level of concern, the next warning sign can be surprisingly confusing because it appears in a completely different part of your body. Urinary symptoms are a strong signal that the inflammation from diverticulitis is spreading beyond the colon, and this happens because the inflamed area sits very close to your bladder. When the swollen tissues begin to irritate the bladder wall, you may feel an urgent need to urinate far more often than usual, even if only a small amount comes out. Many people in the United States mistake this for a simple urinary tract infection, especially after drinking coffee, soda, or eating salty foods that naturally increase bathroom trips. Yet urinary symptoms caused by diverticulitis feel different because the urgency appears together with abdominal discomfort, something a normal infection does not usually cause. You may notice pressure in your bladder, a burning sensation during urination, or the feeling that you cannot fully empty your bladder, all of which point to irritation coming from the inflamed colon beside it. Doctors warn that in more serious cases, the infection can create a small passage between the colon and bladder, allowing air or bacteria to enter the urinary tract. One viewer shared that he began feeling frequent urges to urinate after dinner, believing it was just too much iced tea, but the pressure in his lower abdomen soon grew stronger, and the burning sensation became impossible to ignore. Hours later, he learned that his bladder irritation was caused by diverticulitis, not a simple infection. But only knowing this symptom is still not enough, because the next warning sign can be life-threatening if you miss it for even a short period of time. Number 11. Rigid abdomen and peritonitis. As urinary symptoms reveal that inflammation is spreading beyond the colon, the next warning sign brings the situation to a critical level that demands immediate attention. A rigid abdomen is one of the most dangerous indicators of diverticulitis because it often means that an inflamed pouch has ruptured and released bacteria into the abdominal cavity. When this happens, the lining of your abdomen becomes severely irritated, causing your stomach muscles to tighten so strongly that your abdomen feels hard, stiff, and board-like. Many Americans describe this sensation as a sudden inability to relax their stomach, no matter how they shift, stretch, or try to adjust their posture. This rigid feeling is a medical emergency because it suggests that the infection has spread much further than the colon and is now affecting the entire abdominal space. Doctors explain that this condition, known as peritonitis, often creates intense pain that worsens when you touch your abdomen or when pressure is released after pressing down. You may feel sharp stabbing pain with every movement, making even small actions like walking, coughing, or taking a deep breath incredibly uncomfortable. Some people first notice this rigid tightness after eating meals that cause bloating or stretching of the abdomen, such as large dinners, heavy meats, or carbonated drinks. But the key difference is that the firmness does not fade. One viewer shared that he tried to lie down after feeling sudden abdominal pressure, only to realize that his stomach had become rock hard and unbearably painful within minutes. That frightening moment led him to the emergency room, where he learned that a ruptured diverticulum had caused severe peritonitis. His story reminds us how quickly this warning sign can turn life-threatening. But only knowing this sign is still not enough, because the final symptom can reveal how much damage has already occurred inside your body. Number 12. Pallor and weakness. As a rigid abdomen signals a dangerous internal rupture, the final warning sign often appears when your body begins to show the physical effects of blood loss or severe infection. Pallor and weakness are powerful indicators that diverticulitis has progressed to a serious stage, because they reveal that your blood is no longer carrying enough oxygen to your tissues. When inflammation or bleeding inside the colon becomes severe, your body starts to struggle, and you may notice that your skin looks unusually pale, especially around your lips, gums, and nail beds. This paleness happens because your blood volume drops or because your red blood cells cannot keep up with the oxygen demand created by the ongoing infection. The weakness that follows can feel overwhelming, turning simple activities such as walking across a room, climbing a few steps, or lifting light grocery bags into exhausting tasks. Many Americans mistake this kind of weakness for dehydration, fatigue, or simply having a busy day. But the key difference is that the exhaustion grows worse rather than improving with rest or hydration. Doctors explain that when diverticulitis causes internal bleeding or intense inflammation, the heart must pump harder to circulate what remains of your blood, which can make you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or short of breath even while sitting still. Some viewers share that they first noticed this pallor after skipping a meal or feeling slightly nauseated, only to realize later that the drained look on their face reflected something much more serious. One woman recalled looking in the mirror and noticing that her lips looked almost white, paired with a wave of weakness that made her hold on to the counter for balance. Hours later, she learned at the hospital that the bleeding inside her colon had caused significant anemia. Her experience shows how essential it is to recognize these outward signs of internal distress. But only knowing this still is not enough, because understanding how these 12 warning signs connect is what truly helps protect your health. As we come to the end of this important guide, it is clear that understanding these 12 warning signs gives you a powerful advantage in protecting your health, especially as you grow older. Each symptom tells a story about what is happening inside your body, and when you recognize these signals early, you give yourself the chance to act before inflammation becomes dangerous. You now know how pain, tenderness, fever, digestive changes, urinary problems, and weakness can all point toward diverticulitis, and this knowledge can truly help prevent severe complications that many people never see coming. What matters most is that you are not powerless. You can begin making safe and simple changes today, such as staying hydrated, choosing gentle, high-fiber foods once your doctor approves, resting when your body asks for it, and seeking medical care right away when symptoms appear together. These steps may seem small, but they can protect your gut, support your immune system, and help you avoid emergencies that can impact your long-term well-being. If you are caring for a parent or loved one, this information can also guide you in watching for early signs that may easily be overlooked. You deserve to feel supported, informed, and hopeful because the truth is that early awareness saves lives. In our next video, we will share the most senior-friendly foods that help soothe inflammation, protect your colon, and keep your digestive system strong, especially for adults who want to stay active and independent. So make sure you save this video so you can revisit these warning signs whenever you need a reminder. And subscribe to the channel to receive the latest updates on nutrition, healthy aging, and trusted medical guidance designed to keep you safe. Your health is worth protecting, your future is worth investing in, and every positive choice you make starting today brings you closer to a stronger and healthier life.